Okay, so welcome officially, everyone. Thanks for checking in and sharing. So I think to start proceedings, we're just going to do a guided meditation. I'll be taking you through a 10-step letting go process, which is a summary of A Course in Miracles. It's a step-by-step process, which has been profoundly helpful for many people. Speak up. Okay, it's been profoundly helpful for many people. So what I'd invite you to do is just choose an issue, something that you're struggling with. It could be something current in your life. It could be long-standing, whatever it is. You'll know what it is. Something that's difficult for you at the moment, and work through that issue using these 10 steps. So it becomes very practical for you, and see what happens. So the idea is to help you to let that go and find the state of at one-ment that you talked about, Steve. Find a state where you're now in an awareness of oneness, and the separation that characterizes all of our problems has gone, at least temporarily. It may come back, but then you can do the process again. So that's the journey we're on. So yeah, I invite you just to make yourself comfortable. So get into whatever meditation posture you like. I want to move some of the blankets around. Makes you comfortable. Ideally, your back straight, feet shoulder width apart. I'm just going to do some breathing to start with. So close your eyes, and to start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. Fill up the stomach. So it's called diaphragmatic belly breathing. Notice how the stomach and the chest rises. And then you exhale out through the nose. When you exhale, just let the air flow out. And then just repeat the cycle. So breathing in, stomach rises, chest rises. And out. Exhale through the nose, let the stomach suck back in gently. And just observe the breath. Nothing really you have to do except just observe the subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. And out through the nostrils. And notice how the stomach rises. And the stomach falls. You notice how the breath just happens to you, through you, and for you. There's no conscious stressing or straining, striving. It just happens and you observe it. So you're just the witness or the observer of your breath happening to you. And so just keep watching your breath. And the breath take you deeper and deeper into a deeper place in your mind. And it's just peace and happiness, contentment. Just a deeper awareness. You access through the breath. And if your mind wants to wander, you start thinking about the past or the future, anything, right? Just notice that and return your attention to the breath. Let's keep your eyes closed, Mike. Just drawing the senses a little bit. Just focus all your attention on the breath. So thought comes in, return it to the breath. Just keep bringing your attention back to noticing the breath. You can focus all of your attention on the subtle sensation of the breath in the nose. So you notice this very subtle flow of air in through the nostrils and then out the nostrils. You might notice a little subtle sensation of the air just touching the area between your nose and your upper lip. And you just focus all your attention there. Nothing else to do, nowhere else to go. Just breathing nice, deep, slow, rhythmical breaths. Just observe the breath and focus all your attention on the breath. And you're going to keep that nice, deep, slow, rhythmical pattern going. Just keep breathing and watching your breath as you listen to my words. So that's just happening in the background. It keeps your mind nice and empty and calm, and clear, and open and aware. So into this open, spacious awareness you've created in your mind. You're going to bring to mind a situation that is you're facing. It's challenging for you, it's difficult in any way, causing you any kind of distress, any mental, emotional, physical pain. Something that you're wrestling with, you're struggling with at the moment in your life. So bring that to mind. And just briefly observe those thoughts that now come in. So what are you thinking now? Are you feeling any emotions? Notice how that shows up in your body. So just scan your body. You're aware of what's going on in your head, your face, back of your head, noticing any flutters of sensation. This is how we experience emotion, sensation in the body. Notice what's going on in your neck and your shoulders. Any tension or tightness there. Just breathe in again. Nice deep breath in, and then as you exhale, just drop the shoulders down. And move the shoulders forward, roll them back. Feel like some of that tension that you're holding there is dropping away. Just relaxing. Just getting more and more relaxed with each breath. Notice what's happening in your arms, from your awareness to your upper arms, into your biceps and triceps, down into elbows, forearms, wrists, your hands, your fingers. Feel the weight of your arms hanging limply and heavily off your body. And run your awareness all the way back up, on the tips of your fingers, through your hands. Your wrists, your forearms, elbows, upper arms, your triceps, your biceps, into your neck and shoulders again. And you just keep breathing, more and more relaxed with every breath. Noticing what's happening in your chest, your upper back, your stomach. If you bring to mind that situation that's troubling you, now just notice what's happening in your stomach, your chest. It's where we often feel emotions. They're churning, a knot in your stomach, an uncomfortable feeling in any way, shape, or form. Just notice. Notice those physical sensations, those manifestations of the emotions. But you don't judge them, label them, name them, just observe quietly, no judgment. Just a sensation in the body. It rises and it passes away. And let this awareness run down through your stomach and the lower back into your groin, your buttocks. And on down into your thighs, upper thighs, the back of your thighs. Through your knees, your shins, your calves, your ankles. Feet and your toes. Just relaxing the entire body, mind. Keep watching the breath. Now run your awareness back up from the tips of your toes. To your feet and your ankles. To your shins and your calves. Your knees. Thighs. Back of your thighs, front of your thighs, quadriceps into your groin, the buttocks, just so aware of any of the subtle sensations going. Maybe there's a prickling, tingling itching on the surface of the skin. There's what's going on deeper as well. Go more than skin deep. It's a life awareness, it's some kind of life energy flowing in the body. Notice that. Flowing through your stomach. You feel some soft warmth there. Move your awareness into your little chest. Your upper chest, your heart center. One hand on your heart if you want. Just feel into that heart space. Be very present to all the sensations of the body and the breath. Just be aware of whatever arises. So, in this very calm, relaxed, peaceful, spaciously aware state, you need to invite the awareness of this problem, whatever it is, the thoughts and emotions that are problematic for you, and be aware of them arising within this. Notice how that feels in the body. So maybe there's a tightness in your stomach, in your chest, maybe a slight clenching of your jaw as you think about it. Maybe your palms start sweating, feel nauseous, extreme nausea, panic attacks. These things can happen just from our thoughts and emotions. That's how powerful they are. So just be aware of all that. And try and see yourself as just a little bit separate from these thoughts and emotions. So the thoughts and emotions are not you. They're just happening through you. It's part of your mind. They can just be aware of them. Quite a detached way. And you start to realize then that you are not your thoughts and emotions. You have an awareness that's beyond those thoughts and emotions. It's observing them right now. So you see yourself as separate from thoughts and emotions. You're observing the mind of the person that you thought was you. Might be a bit strange for you, but just try it out. Observe what's going on and recognize that there's an awareness that can observe these thoughts and emotions that's beyond them. Otherwise, you couldn't observe them. This is the beginning of the full realization one day have that you are not really this person at all. You are not your thoughts and emotions. You are not the person who believes in those thoughts and emotions, who's involved in the drama. If you find it difficult to detach, you can briefly open your eyes, take a nice deep breath in and look up at the ceiling. Take a nice deep breath in and you notice, and you do that, that your mind kind of goes blank. There's not a lot of thought there. Just a very clear, calm, open space opens up in your mind. Just a state of pure formless awareness. Not thinking. Thinking mind is quiet. You're just aware. And it feels pretty relaxed. You know, you've brought this issue that may have disturbed you for many years to mind. You can just observe those thoughts and emotions. Just sensations in the body. That's all they are. They come and they go. They arise and they pass away. It's really anything permanent there. So remind yourself, because you do know this, if you don't know it explicitly, we all know this truth that the world and your changing perception of it, including this situation, it seems to be upsetting you, is really an illusion or a dream, if you prefer the word dream. You can use that. It's created by your ego mind. Ego is just your belief in separation. The part of your mind that believes in separation is your ego mind. To reinforce its false and fearful identity. the dream isn't real, and the dream is not really happening. Just tell yourself that this dream isn't real, it's not really happening. So why am I getting upset over nothing? Ask yourself that question. Why am I getting upset over nothing? It's not really happening. And you might find some resistance coming up to this idea. You might notice that as a tightness, contraction, some resistance. Just breathe into that. Nice, deep, slow, rhythmical breath. And inhale breath. And just be willing to do the step. You do it anyway. You remind yourself that all of this is just an illusion or dream. You think that whatever you think and perceive about the situation and the characters involved in it is just an illusion. Or a dream. Use whichever term you find most helpful for you. You'll then be telling your mind the real reason it should let go of its attachment to these false thoughts and perceptions. And so just keep watching your breath. Watching the breath creates the spacious awareness within which all this happens. As you continue to watch your breath, getting more deeply relaxed with each breath, I want you to remember again that it's all your projection. So what does that mean? It means that whatever appears to be happening outside of you and independent of you is really coming from your own mind. It's a projection of your own mind. Your mind is dreaming this dream. There's only really one mind. It's dreaming the dream of the universe we seem to live in. The lives apparently being lived out in time and space. Only really one of us here. So allow that idea to kind of drop in. And if you notice resistance, just breathe through it and just carry on. Process, just thinking the thoughts that I'm asking you to think, letting your mind go in this direction. So the truth is that whatever someone appears to be doing to you or to have done to you, you are in fact doing to yourself. And if it's unpleasant, then it's out of your own unconscious guilt that you have projected out into the illusion or the dream. Manifested in the form of a situation and the person or people who appear to be causing you to suffer. And making you a victim of the situation. It's really our own projections that lead to our perceptions of the world. And it's always you who are responsible for creating your reality. Again, you might notice some resistance to those ideas. Just notice that, observe however that shows up in the body, and just think the thought anyway. And if the dogs are bothering you, just use that as part of the meditation practice. It's all okay, it's all fine. Just let it go and stay with this process. So everything that's ever happened, it's your projection. It's coming from a part of your mind, and that gets projected out to this four-dimensional screen of time and space. And then you see these characters and these so-called people showing up in your life. And they appear to have some kind of independent will, independent mind. And if experiences have been unpleasant, then they do things that are not very pleasant, not what you like them to do. And then you judge that, and you say that's real, that's really happened. Now I have a grievance and I feel unfairly treated. And so notice all of that in yourself. Just noticing all of that. And have some empathy for yourself. It's a bit of a predicament you've put yourself in, because actually what's happened is you projected this all, and you've just been unaware that you projected it. And then you believe that these other people, circumstances outside of you, are really causing you harm, causing you distress. None of which is true. So it's a setup of your mind, but it's a very common setup. It's the human condition. I mean, set up to be upset. Set yourself up to be upset. So instead of beating yourself up, because that's quite a common thought of the ego. Just have some empathy for yourself. So be empathetic towards yourself and all others involved in the situation. Just knowing that you and they are doing the best they can in their current state of consciousness. And all unconscious, unloving behavior happens because people don't feel loved. It's in fact a cry for love. So you and any other people involved in the situation really need your love rather than your judgment and condemnation. To only make the situation worse and strengthen the ego, sense of being a separate self. So let go of these destructive thoughts and emotions and find the underlying happiness, peace. That's everyone's natural state in life. So just have empathy for yourself. Breathe that into every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body. It's an understanding of yourself, human condition, understanding of people. We've all done the best that we can do at that time. That's always true, because otherwise you wouldn't have done it. If you knew how to do better, you would have done better. So how can you really judge yourself or anyone? Everyone did the best they could at the time, what they knew, they understood. So with that understanding, grace, compassion that you've given yourself, you just now feel the emotions. So we're really going to feel into these emotions evoked by the thoughts you brought up in the beginning when I said just be aware of whatever situation, the drama in your life. So again, bring up those thoughts. Nice deep breath in. Just be aware of those thoughts, be aware of emotions. How does it feel in your body? Notice the feelings. They might be quite subtle, but if there's any emotion, you'll notice those subtle feelings. Maybe it's just a flutter in your stomach, clenching of your jaw or fists. Maybe a knot in your stomach, maybe a blocked chest, dry mouth, sweaty palms, extreme nausea, panic attacks can come just from these thoughts and emotions. Wherever you are on that spectrum, just notice and really allow yourself a couple of minutes here just to dwell in those thoughts and emotions for a bit. It might be unpleasant, you might find it painful, you might want to run away, you might want to get up and leave the room. Just sit with it. Be determined just to sit and observe. What are the thoughts, what are the emotions coming up for you? And in this clear, spacious awareness, you can just start to see maybe that you can actually let this go. So you're gonna make a conscious choice now. You decide that you don't want this painful, negative feeling inside of you to disturb your inner peace, cloud the awareness of your true self or happy self ever again. Why would you want that? Any reason for choosing that? So now just choose to let it go. Do that with the help of your breath. So nice deep breath in. And through the nose. Imagine you breathing light in. If you visualize light, visualize a golden or white light coming into your heart center, into your stomach, into every pore of your body, every cell. Just infusing itself with this divine life energy. Filling yourself up with it. And in this light, which is just your true awareness, no darkness can really exist. No darkness can abide in the light. So you bring in the light again, nice deep breath in. It's infusing every cell in your body, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being is in this light of pure formless awareness. There's just an awareness, there's no darkness to that, there's no negativity, no contraction at all. It's just pure formless awareness of perfect love. Let that arise in your mind. You notice that those dark thoughts and emotions just cannot sustain. They're dissipating, they're leaving you. They're going, they're gone. So just exhale. Full deep exhale out your mouth. Imagine you're just blowing those thoughts and emotions away. Pull the lower stomach into the spine. Expel the last remaining air out. Imagine you've blown it all out. You let it all go. Expel it all out. Darkness has left you. What remains is just this pure, formless awareness, which is the light. Maybe visualize that as a beautiful golden or white light in your mind. Maybe it's just a sense of being lighter and freer. So appreciate the perfection of this state. Appreciate that the mirror of this situation, the mirror has helped you to see and let go of your own pain and negativity. You needed whatever the situation was. You needed the drama, trauma, pain, suffering. If you come to this point where you let it go and found this light again, can you appreciate the perfection and apparently imperfect situation? Maybe your mind is labeled as a disaster, terrible, awful occurrence, wish it never happened. But maybe now you can see that it's quite useful because it's brought your unconscious guilt, fear, anger, any other egoic emotion. So any negative emotion. Negative means negate. It negates the truth, negates love, peace, and joy. But it's brought all these dark, unconscious, toxic emotions to the fore in your mind. Become aware of them. They may have remained buried in your subconscious mind for a long time because you suppressed them or repressed them, stuck away in your mind, don't know they're even there. So the situations helped you to become aware that they are there, helped you to become consciously aware of them so they can be released. And you can become aware again of perfect peace, love, and joy that are your true nature. And what you deserve to feel all the time. Don't worry if you struggle with feeling deservable. This might go against your ego's identity of being worthless and undeserving. Just do the step. Just appreciate the perfection, think the thoughts, fake it until you make it. Just remind yourself that whatever's happened in this situation, to you and to others, in any situation in your life, is all perfect. It's all happened for a reason. The reason is to become aware of the darkness in your own mind, the negativity, just blocking the awareness of love's presence, become aware of it as you just have, and to release it. And that's the only way that you can free your mind from that darkness. Become consciously aware of it, allow it to come up, and then you let it go. This is what we're doing here. So it's all perfect in its imperfection. Again, breathe in that perfection, breathe in the light. Just let the breath remind you of the absolute perfection of life. Every breath is a new breath. So now be grateful. Breathing in, nice deep breath in, and just feel the gratitude for the situation, the person or people involved, whatever they did or didn't do, all of it, because it's all designed to teach you. So a teacher giving you the gift of bringing your ego's negative thoughts and emotions to your attention so you can release them and you can be freed from all the suffering they've caused you and others. That's the real purpose of any negativity and pain. To free your mind. So why wouldn't you be grateful for every opportunity that you've been given? This situation, other situations. Every opportunity is an opportunity to be grateful for this opportunity to see your own mind, see your subconscious mind, see your programming blocking the awareness of love's presence. Feel that gratitude. Breathe it in. Nice deep breath in. Embrace that gratitude. Fuse every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body, every part of your mind with gratitude. Maybe visualize a color. Visualize color as well. Maybe gratitude as a color for you. Visualize that. What light, what color light does it have? Imagine that light flowing into every pore. Every cell, every muscle. Every part of your mind, every fiber of your being is genuinely grateful for this opportunity. The thing that hurts you the most is your greatest opportunity to let go of your own darkness, your own negativity that keeps your separate self intact, blocks the awareness of perfect love from you. So why would you not embrace these opportunities, appreciate them? Surely it's a reason for great gratitude, because through these opportunities, we call them forgiveness opportunities, you have the opportunity to discover who you are. And that is the purpose of your life. So rather than being resisted, you can embrace them. And so now finally, forgive and release everything. So breathe in again. Nice deep breath in. Imagine this beautiful golden or white light flowing into every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body, to any areas with particular tension or tightness, pain. Just breathe into that. Imagine the light flowing into that area. And you're going to tell yourself that you've totally forgiven or let go of the whole situation and the people involved in the situation and yourself. All of your thoughts, words, and actions related to the situation, that it's been dissolved into the nothingness it always was, still is. And everyone else involved has been healed through your forgiveness and the letting go. Now say to yourself as an affirmation of this: I forgive you, and name the person. Forgive you, name the person or people, and I am forgiven completely. All is forgiven and released. We always are, have been, and will be oneself. And so I love you unconditionally as myself, self with a capital S, the one self we share, the Christ. This person is that, so are you. Through your forgiveness or letting go, come to realize that again, to recognize the truth. So say again, 3 times, I forgive you. Name the person or people. Forgive you, name, I am forgiven completely. All is forgiven and released. All is forgiven and released. And so we always are, have been, and will be oneself. And so I love you unconditionally as myself. And feel the sense of release, freedom as you do that. Just exhale. Feel the sense of releasing all the negativity in your own mind. It's really just separates you. That's all it does. Separates you in your awareness from the other person or people. So you feel separate and you feel alone. It's not a very happy state to be in. Forgiveness or letting go does is it restores your mind to the truth. And one more time, just to make sure we've done that. Say, I forgive you. And name the person. You can say it aloud if you want. Forgive you. Name the person. And I am forgiven completely. All is forgiven and released. We always are, have been, and will be oneself. And so I love you unconditionally as myself. Exhale, just drop into that space. Beyond your judgments, beyond your negative thoughts and emotions, lies the truth. That you and everyone is the same awareness, same presence or oneness, self. It's really all the same. So just drop into that sameness. Allow your mind just to go there, stay there for a few minutes. There's nothing else to do. Nowhere else to go. Nothing else to say. Just breathe in and out through your nose. Relax. Be still. Allow yourself to merge into this oneness, this deeper awareness. And just stay there in that awareness. Keep breathing, observe the breath. And stay in this awareness, in the state of at one with yourself, your source, the other person or people involved in the situation. Maybe you have a sense arising that oneness is all encompassing. There is no one who is not included. Nothing and no one is not included in that oneness. And if any thoughts arise, you want to get distracted, start thinking again, thinking about the past or the future. Just bring your attention back to the breath and its subtle, gentle rhythm of the breath. You observe that. That's all you have to do. The mind goes back into the spacious awareness, pure formless awareness. Perfect love is what we call God in our translated language. Just a pure formless awareness. And so sink into that pure formless awareness. There's no form there. Just perfect awareness. Nothing to disturb it, nothing to block it, to limit it, interrupt its flow. Just there. Always there. It's never not been there. And surrender into that experience. There's nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Just abandon yourself, surrender to this deep experience of oneness. That you are one with everyone and everything. One with the person involved in the situation. You extrapolate that to everyone. So imagine extending that awareness, that light. Just immerse yourself in the silence. Stillness underneath the sounds of the water and the wind and my voice. It's just ever present, deep silence. Allow yourself to merge with that silence, with that awareness. Notice that the silence and the awareness are one. And just allow yourself to have that experience. Pure formless awareness for a few minutes of deep silence. And so just gently coming out. So, on the count of 3, and bring yourself back to an awareness of the body and the breath, senses in the world. So on the count of 3, 1, just breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises, the subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Just pausing at the top of the inhale. And just scan your mind. So notice anything going on, any thoughts, any emotions. Maybe it's just pure awareness, nothing really going on. In which case, just enjoy it. But any content in your mind, any thoughts, any emotions, just be aware of them and then let them go with the help of your breath. So you exhale. Just blow them out, releasing them. Notice how the air flows out through the mouth, the chest and the stomach suck back in. Energy raised up to the crown of your head, subsides back down into rest in your lower stomach and your groin. On the count of 2, notice the weight of your body pressing down into the chair and your feet touching the ground. Noticing what you're feeling and touching. Maybe there's a subtle taste in your mouth. Smell in your nose. And notice what you're hearing. It's all the subtle sounds. Sounds of the water, wind chimes, my voice. Whatever else is you notice. Notice how the sound arises in stillness and then it subsides. So what's permanent, what's eternal is stillness, the underlying stillness and the awareness of that stillness, which is still in your mind. Even though you're aware of the sounds, the awareness of stillness is still there. And that's the one thing that doesn't change. Always there is your true awareness. So you're going to make the conscious choice now to stay connected to that awareness. Stay in that awareness for the rest of the afternoon, the rest of the weekend. So it is said and so it is done. And now on the count of 3, open your eyes. Just take a minute to look around. So observe various objects in the room, people in the room. And notice that this awareness, hopefully you connected with quite deeply in the last hour actually, is still there. Hasn't really gone anywhere, still there. Just have some sense perceptions going on, but there's an awareness always in the background. And so the art of this, the art of letting go, is really the art of taking what was in the foreground, all of your sense perceptions, and putting them into the background, bringing what was in the background, which is this deeper awareness, unchanging, into the foreground. And then you live in and through that awareness. So you still have sense perceptions going on, but their background awareness is more primary. And all of your sense perceptions are a bit secondary, still aware of it. And then what happens is the beauty shines through those sense perceptions. You said you can listen to the sounds of the wind chimes, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful because of the stillness. That permeates through it, that runs through it, allows you to experience it. That's beautiful. See, it's the awareness that allows you to experience beauty. It's not the thing itself. It's the awareness that allows it, That's the true beauty. So I hope maybe you experience some of that in the meditation, and maybe let go of some blocks to that awareness. So that brings us to the end of the meditation. If you'd like to share anything about your experience, now's a good time. Anyone want to share anything? Yeah, I saw they were attracted to the energy that happens. And Elaine's joined us. Hi, Elaine. Welcome.
Hello, everybody. Who's there? Who's
and
there?
Well, I'll show you. So we have a whole gathering here. That's Steve is our host. There's Kim. You know Kim.
Oh yes, hello, Kim.
Fred, Pam, Mike, Lucille.
I can't see anybody. Just a little grey man in the middle in a black screen.
Really? Green man
Yeah.
in the...
No, not a green man, a little grey. You know, the little when you're greyed out.
All right.
In a black screen. Can't see anybody.
Maybe that's because my camera's not. That might be the case. Okay, so let's just plug that in again. It was working. Let's see if we have any joy with that. You can hear me though, yeah?
Oh, no problem at all.
There you go.
You look in a very interesting place. Yes.
Very interesting, yeah.
Did you go to that beautiful bay? You know, that was, you know, that beautiful bay that you, oh, I can't, black screen.
Yeah, we're in Hart Bay, yeah. We're in Hart Bay.
Looks beautiful, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's...
You're having a nice break. Oh, my husband's team's just scored a goal. Oh,
yeah. All right, just scored a goal.
In a minute.
Okay. Yeah, so
you might have to go upstairs, I don't know.
no, she's in Tenerife. So yeah, anyone want to share anything about your experience? Any thoughts? Anything profound happened?
You keep recordings of your meditations.
Yeah. Terrific. Yeah. Yeah, I recorded. So happy to send it to you. Like it's on Telegram. Yeah. So anyone else like to share anything?
I'm always disappointed. Yeah, but I always feel the shift in my energy always. I have the disappointment of not having a visualization or whatever it is. I find if I keep my eyes open, I can't get into it. If I close my eyes,
yes, fall asleep.
Yeah. Really, but it is always.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny they left you alive. So maybe you don't get enough sleep. That's possible.
Maybe, but I also like to think a bit of receptive. Maybe you're right.
It's possible, and otherwise, just you go. That's my experience of meditation. It's a deeper awareness. You just drop into that deeper awareness, which is very similar to sleep.
Also, kind of,
Yeah, you're just dropping into something deeper, and then go into that.
So yeah, I could find so what you might like to say, but say this opportunity, but it's a 10-step process.
Hmm.
You want to articulate step by step by step so that you can kind of digest it.
Yeah, we can do that. Go with the flow. Would anyone like a break, or just go into that? Yeah, clearly. Okay. It's just after 3 o'clock. Yeah. So shall we have a 10-minute break? Stretch, can have a bit of food, and then we'll carry on. How's that? Oh. Yeah, sounds like a good idea.
Historically, women are less enthusiastic about that.
Generally, yeah. It's funny. Okay, so Elaine, we're going to just take a quick break, and then we'll carry on. So if you want to take a 10-minute break or something.
Yes, yeah. Oh, I think I'll have to try and find another. There's another goal being scored. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Someone's very happy.
He is. Right. Yeah, I'll just because he's so exhilarated that I'll switch off.
It's just unbelievable.
Oh, I'm pleased for you, Dave. Right.
Okay.
They're a top. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, we'll see you in 10 minutes or so.
See you in 10 minutes. Thanks, Jono.
All right.
See you later.
Okay.
Parts from my personality. Yeah. They can't keep.
It's okay. It was all right. Yeah, it was all part of the meditation. So it's good. Yeah, he did do that. That was also part of it. It's like, okay, well, how would he know it's for me? I mean, just know that. It's no ownership. This is water. I'm thirsty. I want to drink. So, yeah. Very, very lovable. And I have dog hair all over my computer.
I found it out. You realize, yeah, you bombed out. You bombed out. Yeah. What happened to you? You couldn't get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Very well. When the horse does.
Yeah.
No, I was trying to do it on my own. It's something that's been going on for years. My legs are really weak. With it's used to be embarrassing, but now it's just the way it is. Yeah. I think back in vanity to past, not that distant, of vitality and stuff like that. and it's right. And when I'm just going to go to the yeah. I still exercise regularly. Do what I can to keep what I've got still going. I've got another exercise bikes, but I rode them. I don't want to show off that, but I rode them on an off road, and my life but the front and these bus bars, all sorts of stuff like that.
Years ago.
An English word.
And I had it in London, I don't fall off, whereas in reality, I'll get a hell of a lot nicer. So,
You only have 10 minutes to do a lot. 10 minutes to do a lot.
I'm as
Flexible.
it is really not. we have a lane here.
Oh, good.
So wait, so I just needed the toilet actually. So
Down there.
they actually want it said go outside.
No, they're down there.
Been a few years now. And I'm okay. It's my life. And then I was trying to right.
You want to be
What became of me. I was like, it's like making pot food is my life. Stop making spots now. I just want to sit quietly in the garden. It is. You know, I've been very lucky in 30 years. And so now I'm just content. But I've got.
Maybe I didn't know what it was. I go to a meditation with twice a week. And you don't make time yet. Why don't you go with this time? She's in the marina. Sorry. You run the with a group of people to coordinate
And
temple. Yeah. Yes, sorry. On the side of the phone. Yeah, well, I didn't realize.
We shifted on the side, there's the window.
having gone.
Tend that I enjoy those because I like sitting with a candle. Once in a while.
Very nice. It's like, yeah, interesting. Okay, so and you all see that. So I'll just use this just to draw a couple of things out, see how we go. So Fred asked me about the process, 10 steps, yeah. So I'll write those down for you and we'll have a little chat about it. And then as part of that, I'll explain some of the metaphysics of the course. Of the, yeah, just be aware. I don't want them to rip my. They'll pull it, the whole thing over if we're not careful, yeah. So, yeah, we'll just make sure they don't do that. Okay. All right. We just lost video again. Keeps losing the video. All right. Keeps losing this. That's one. Okay. So step one of that process was just an acknowledgement. Let's see if one of these pens works. Yeah, it'll work. Kind of. Can everyone read that? Acknowledgement. Maybe I'll try another color. So step one was, in order to heal anything, you need to acknowledge what it is. Otherwise, there's no healing that's possible. So this step is common in all of the AA 12-step Alcoholics Anonymous process. They start with the acknowledgement that, yeah, I'm an alcoholic, I have a problem. So I need to do something about it. So that's not the final end of it, but you have to start the process somewhere. So you start with acknowledgement, okay, there's an issue there. I'm gonna address it. So that's what step one is. Step two was awareness. I read that might be better. So that's the red's better. Step two was awareness. So an awareness comes in when you're not in the mind anymore. It's just an awareness that you can observe whatever it is. You can observe the drama, the thought, the emotion, but without getting so caught up in it that you believe it's you. So, which is important because that's the beginning of letting go. If you can be aware of something, then you're aware that you're not it because there's another awareness. So awareness is key to all of these practices. If you boil this down to two simple steps, the first one is awareness of what it is, and the second step is letting go of what it is. Those are really the two steps. But in the 10th step, there's a few more intermediate because there's some ideas that can be very helpful in this process. So number 3 is remembering that the world is an illusion. And I say remembering because actually you all know this on some level. And it's just remembering that you know that something's not quite right about this place. That there is a
that we work with an example. So let's take a universal example like the trail.
Mm-hmm.
So we start in the first step is that I acknowledge that in my body or in my emotions, I carry this feeling of betrayal. Someone has betrayed me.
Yeah.
So that's the acknowledgement.
Mm.
Then we get to the awareness part.
Yeah.
So the awareness of the betrayal, can we put some kind of description or where we feel this hurt or what the betrayal was when you found you were being betrayed, someone had stolen something, taken something that you thought was yours, and that is the issue.
Mm.
So the first thing is the betrayal. The second thing is the awareness of the betrayal.
It's awareness of the thoughts and emotions, really.
Yeah.
So what is it bringing up in me? I'm feeling really angry. I'm feeling,
Okay.
the rage coming up. I'm feeling, and so you become aware of the emotion gets translated into sensation in the body. This is a key Buddhist insight that I understood. Well, the Buddha understood that you could transmute any negativity by observing the effects of it in the body,
right,
as emotion. So every strong emotion has a physical component. So then you observe the sensation, and you by detaching from it, by just going into awareness and being aware of it without anything else. There's no story. There's no judgment. Then you start to undo that. See?
So are you remembering that feeling of betrayal and how it feels in your, let's say, your stomach or heart or your muscle?
Well, it's present. It's not remembering. You bring it up, you acknowledge it, you bring it into awareness, and then you observe it. So the awareness is really moving into the observer stage. So acknowledgement starts the process. Then you move into more of an observer and a witness. So you can just observe that, and but understand that you're not totally that. Just the active awareness means that you're not totally identified with the betrayal. There's a part of your mind that can observe. Okay, this is what it feels like in my body.
So you're not immersed.
Yeah. So immediately there's a sense of starting to let go of the personal identity. So I said, in that process, and if you recall, that you have the awareness that you're not really that person who was betrayed, and you can have that awareness that there's something else that's beyond that.
You're remembering a movie. There's various characters.
Yeah, but there's an awareness. The observer of the movie is not the character, is not any of the characters in the movie. So you kind of zoom out. You think of how you watch a movie. You're not in the screen. You're not immersed in it. You're able to observe it.
Sometimes you do get.
Yeah, well, it sucks you in, doesn't it? It wants to pull you in. But if you remind yourself, I'm just an observer of this, I'm not actually in the movie.
Yeah.
And even if it's a horror movie or something, you just go, well, it's just a movie. So why am I getting all this?
That's the third step, the illusion. Recognizing the illusion.
Yeah, so from awareness, you then move into this idea that, okay, if it's all just, it's not that real. What I'm perceiving here isn't ultimately real. There's a falsity to this world, and I'll talk about the metaphysics. Yeah, it is. You're denying the world. This material world is reality. And that's where people get stuck. And how can you say that? But ultimately, if you want to understand any deep spiritual teaching, you have to go there and start looking at the nature of reality. What is it?
Yeah, I think there's a subtle distinction here, and that denial is saying that the story isn't the story anymore. We're not seeing the emptiness of the story, but denying that the story exists is a danger. I mean, the first thing is that we work underwater, we bought in. This is what happened. We've got the story. This is what happened. So if we're saying it didn't really happen to me, then we short circuit the process of working through a topic of understanding the illusion that we bought into.
Yeah.
Good
point. Well, that's why you start with acknowledgement.
Yeah.
So that's called spiritual bypassing or metaphysical ghosting. David Hoffman's called metaphysical ghosting. You go, no, it's all an illusion. I don't even need to look at it. Now that's denying. You go, okay, I'm saying I'm okay. All an illusion. Using a metaphysical concept to really avoid going into the pain of it, feeling those emotions, which is bypassing. It's not really going to help. So the ego is very sneaky because it'll use a concept like the illusion, which is true, but it'll use it at the wrong time, and then it'll sabotage your ego. So that's, you don't want to do that. That's why in the 10 steps, if you walk through the steps, you can't do that. You have to acknowledge it. You have to be aware of it. You have to feel it. And then we go back. We revisit it in step 6. You have to revisit it and you have to feel it again. And then let it go. So you can't bypass it. You have to actually go into the feeling and then deny it. That's the key. And so that's really the key kind of methodology of the Course in Miracles. Saying all very well, to just deny it and say it's all, but he understands that in our perception it's very real. So he has to meet us where we are. It's getting into this ego and let's understand it. Bring it into your conscious awareness. Bring it to the light of your true awareness. And then let it go. But it has to come up to awareness. It will be so easy. Oh, it's right. It's on the right. It's not hard. Understand that. You have to release all of your trauma and pain that's carried in your subconscious mind and your energy body, then you don't believe it's real. And that trauma is still coming into your awareness all the time, and it's causing pain and such. So you have to kind of work through steps, and that's the idea of the 10 step. This is like pretty rigorous. You don't skip steps. Just keep working through, and then if you can come out to step 10. You've been through a process, which is helpful when the ego's got a lot of charge about it to stay to a rigorous process. It's very easy to get lost in it. You start swimming off the ego takes over, and you forget you don't have a rigor, a discipline process. It's a bit like I remember watching a movie once. It was a program, and the one guy flew on instruments, and the other guy was like, "No, I just kind of wing it." And the guy who flew on winging it, he messed up and he died because he got confused and he didn't refer to these instruments and say, "I guess where am I?" Like, you don't know where you're flying up, you don't know where's up and where's down, and got confused. The guy then who flew the same mission and the same thing happened. He did it. He got through it because he just stuck to the rigor. Okay, so check. Where am I? Altitude. You stay with the process and that goes through. So that's the idea. You stick with the process and it can see you through because there's a rigor to it. And this really is the summary of the entire Course in Miracles in a step-by-step process. So if you apply this and you go through the steps, then you're doing the course. You're actually applying it, which is kind of helpful because if you can condense a big volume of 1,300 pages with thousands and thousands of words into a process that you can do, and you could do it in as little as 10-20 minutes, but we took an hour. That's very helpful. So the illusion idea is where a lot of people get stuck because it seems to be that's science is physicists were telling us really the same thing. As a sort of mystics, by saying there's no reality in the absence of observation. That's so there's no fact anymore at that level. It's interpretation, which is interesting. It's all perceptual. So there is no reality in the absence of observation. Is really saying that there's nothing outside there that's independent and objective of you. It only exists because you, as an observer, what will exist? No, nothing. So, if the self that is perceiving what is apparently out there is false, then what is perceiving is also false. Yeah. So that's like an illusion. Right? I have a false self, which I made up. I invented it. We all invented a false self called the ego, called the devil, whatever you want to call it, because we didn't want to be one with our source anymore. This is the central teaching of the course. So he's saying here, there's, in fact, I'll use blue. Just get this erased. How well that's going to work, but So the blue is truth, and the red is illusion. So the Course is saying there's truth, right? So that's God, truth, love, beauty, if you want to use that word. But it doesn't have any form, right? So we call this, in our translated language, this is pure formless awareness of perfect love. I had a kind of mystical experience a couple of years ago in Worcester. I actually did a Vipassana retreat, and I just dropped into an awareness. I was still aware, but there was no thought. For I don't know how long it was. There's no time in that. So a few minutes maybe. And I couldn't really, or how would I describe that? And the word that came to me was pure formless awareness. That's all it was. And then we add in perfect love, because love's a very powerful pointer. So pure formless awareness of perfect love. God, truth, love, oneness, beingness, whatever you want to call it. And the teaching of Yeshua is that a tiny mad idea came in. Seemed to happen, right? So it's all seeming. Once you go out of that, it's all seeming. It's an illusion, but it seems to have happened. So it's a tiny mad idea of separation. Okay? So it's just an idea. And so it pops into this mind that's been one forever and only knows oneness, just perfectly blissful and happy. Ooh, what if I could be separate? What if I could have my own identity? Just like an innocent wondering. That's how it starts. Well, that could be interesting. So the mind goes, yeah, maybe that could be a good idea. And so it starts. The idea, the idea isn't a problem until you believe it. But if you desire it, then you start believing it. Oh, that could be interesting. That could be a lot better than just perfect oneness. This could offer me something that I haven't experienced. So, curiosity killed the cat, we know. So what happens then is we believe that idea, and we don't just believe it, we want it, we desire it. We want that now as our new identity. And so this is where the ego comes up. Yeah, it's where the suffering starts, exactly. So then you have ego, or it's also called universal mind in some teachings, or it's called Satan, or consciousness. Yeshua calls it consciousness. So when people say it's consciousness, he's saying consciousness is the domain of the ego. It's the domain of an idea of separation that has now taken root in your mind, and you now believe that idea, and everything that happens within that idea is a product of the idea of separation. And so you start to create another world, another reality for yourself. You see, as soon as you split like that, you've created some other identity, something else going on. At this point, it's all metaphysical. There's no physical existence in the mind. But the metaphysical is the genesis of the physical. So, this explains what happened when, the cosmologists tell us there was this explosion of energy, Big Bang, and 15 billion years later, here we are trying to figure out what happened. Why are we even here? This is the only teaching I've found that gives a satisfactory answer, in my view. There's many creation myths, but they're usually they're just myths, and they usually try and involve some kind of creator in it. And they say, well, God created the heavens and the earth. We all know the story in 7 days. However you spin that, you have a fundamental problem. Because why would an entity of perfect love create such a shithouse as this? Why would that happen? And it's a fundamental question. Why would that? How could a God of love have created a world where there's so much pain and there's so much suffering and everything dies in the end, so nothing lasts? How is that actually possible? And what Yeshua figured out is that it wasn't actually possible. Although it seemed to be possible, it wasn't possible. And if you hold to that idea that the impossible is not possible, then you're back in truth, you see. So the tiny mad idea, which is an impossible idea, never really happened. It just seemed to happen. And we seemed to believe it, which took us a step further away from truth. We now have a single separate mind. Okay? That's where it started. One ego mind. I said, I now have my own identity. I'm pretty cool. Kind of like this. I can decide for myself. I have my own will. And so the problem starts. At this point, it still seems to be okay, pretty happy, maybe. I mean, not happy, but interesting. The mind's engaged. So then at this point, you take another step down the ladder of separation, and you go into individuality, right? So this is a separate identity named, okay? Which is an acronym for sin. So it's sin. As soon as I name it, and I go, okay, so I'm a separate self here. What do? I make it real. As soon as I name anything, what do? You make it real. What happened with COVID? As soon as they name it, it becomes real. Before it was just, okay, various nameless symptoms, but we name it, we give it a name, and then suddenly it comes into reality. So that's how it works. So we start naming this. We say, yes, this is who I am. We've got a new identity going on. And then the nightmare starts, because what you've told yourself then is that in order to exist as a separate self, you have to have destroyed oneness. They can't coexist. I cannot be separate and one at the same time. Can you? You can't really. I'm either one or I'm separate. I'm pregnant or I'm not pregnant. I mean, these are mutually exclusive states. They're polarized. It's like it's this or that. Right? And most spiritual teachings don't understand it. They try to fudge it. They'll say, well, yeah, there's oneness is there, but then kind of separation is part of it. And they kind of, the yin and the yang and the light and the dark, and it's all part of some kind of reality. Yin yang, I mean, that's the yin yang symbol, or light and dark. And it's all reality. And Yeshua figured out that no, it's not all reality. One of them is true and one of them is not. So there's a false reality and there's a true reality. And you have to distinguish between the two. Otherwise, it's no basis for any kind of decision making. So once you understand what's happened, you can start to make more conscious choices about what you want to believe. If you believe in any of this stuff, the consequence of this is guilt. Guilt and sin at the apparent destruction of love. And so we think in order to exist as a separate self, we have to have done away with this God, love, oneness. It has to be obliterated, destroyed in the ego's judgment in order for it to exist. So can you see why the ego is fundamentally sinful and guilty? Because it can't exist without those ideas. It would have no separate existence. And so what underpins its individual identity is this guilt and the sin at the destruction of love. And that's why you will never be happy within the ego's thought system, because it's always underpinned by guilt and sin. And you feel fundamentally unworthy of existence. This is the problem with the ego. Why does it feel unworthy of existence? Because it has no existence. It doesn't have true existence. So of course it's going to feel unworthy. And then it tries to justify its existence in many ways. And this world and this whole universe is the apparent justification for its existence. So it then says, now you've got this terrible guilt and sin going on. You have to now believe in the wrath of God, in a fearful, vengeful God.
which is an image made up. This is not true, but this is the ego's God. Because what sin demands is fear, right? So it's a false expectation. False expectation appearing real. Forgot to record this. False expectation appearing real is a natural. Mhm. No, it's not necessary. That's what he said. Well, there's this idea, the ego is the idea of separation. That's the belief in separation is the ultra ego. It's just a belief, right? It's not really an entity, it's just a belief that's false. But the ego isn't necessary. No. If it was necessary, then all this world is necessary, then pain and suffering and sickness and death are necessary. But they're not necessary. They're only necessary until you realize that they're unnecessary. That's the whole point of awakening. Now, so many teachings say, no, the ego is necessary, you've got to manage. Yeah, but that's not true. In this teaching, it's saying, no, the ego is not necessary. This is a delusion. It was a tiny mad idea. It was a crazy idea that we all seem to have at one point. And we got lost in that idea. We believed that idea so much that we've gone down the track at every level here. You go down the track and you forget. There's like an amnesia that comes over the mind. You forget what you've done. And so you forget that you were once oneness. And you forget that there was actually only really one idea of separation. And you forget the decision to be an individual self. And you forget the guilt and the sin. Because it all gets buried in the subconscious. But it's there. You've just chosen to forget it. You forget, that the only real fear you have is false. It's a false expectation now of punishment because of your imagined guilt and sin that appears to be real to you. That's what fear is. False expectation appearing real. Based on a false idea that you are a separate self, and therefore you have destroyed God, and therefore you deserve to be punished for this imagined sin. That's the delusion. So none of which is real.
I'd like to propose that, you have described that state that you had in the first time of meditation.
Yeah.
Where you disappeared.
Yeah.
And you can't say who you were, what you were, but you know that happened. In that state, there's no ego.
Yes.
But for myself, I wake up in the morning, I've got responsibility, even when I drive my car, which stay on the left-hand side of the road. It's my ego that's going through those motions and that process. So I'm proposing that we can't exist as individuals without an ego.
No, that's not true.
Once we individuals, we are ego.
No.
So at the moment, we're not.
No. You think you are, but you're not. Your mind is split, you see. We have this terrible duality
So,
going.
I get it, that I'm also God, pretending not to be God. I'm going through this convolution. I've had this thought, what if? And I've left my oneness and I've gone and incarnated or manifest, in this case, the one who's speaking is Fred, and then there's other people with their egos that have their names, and they interact with me, and they're also God, but they're pretending not to be God.
Yeah.
And we're on our way back to being God with a 10-step process. But in my understanding is that happens when I'm sitting on my cushion doing my meditation, when I'm out of the world, when I'm extracting myself out of the world and I'm getting into the space, I'm not going to enter into meditation if I'm feeling a whole lot of guilt or anxiety or fear. I'm only going to get into it when I've resolved all those things using whatever meditation process I've got. But the point I'm making is that there's the rest of the time when I'm not meditating, I am this entity who I call Fred Rosenthal, River, whatever, and I have my personality.
Are you really?
Well, when I walk into a wall, I get a bump on the head.
Yeah.
Now,
But that's an illusion.
the wall is the illusion, the bump.
Yeah. It is.
Fucking painful.
Yeah.
And you
But the pain is an illusion. You see, it's not real.
Well, it only works.
Yeah.
And no matter what I say and how hard I leave, I still can't walk through that wall much as I'd like to.
Oh, there are people who've done it. Possible. It is possible. So you know, it's not possible for you in your current state of consciousness.
Okay.
That's all she's saying. But
Right, so I'll accept that I've said my say and that to suspend my judgment will allow you to continue with what you know and what you've prepared and what everybody's come together.
yeah, okay.
So-
No, I'll answer those questions because they're good questions. Yeah.
Well, it's great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you, thank you.
I mean, you know, the common thing is, well, like, get real. Come on. Well, stick your hand in the fire. You're gonna burn. Come on, like, let's get practical. Huh? No, I said if you stick your hand in the fire, you're gonna burn. You know.
Yeah, but that's not
But it is. It's all an illusion. That's the whole point. It is. Oh yes, it is. All of it is an illusion. Yes, exactly. You're getting the point. Who's speaking to you now? I'm speaking to you now, seemingly, but really it's your higher self speaking to you now through the vehicle of this body-mind mechanism.
I do, but it's really deep.
Yeah, it is. It is. So this is the truth. No, it is the truth right now, real time. Who's speaking to you? You speaking to you. What do you mean? What is we all see yeah. What is the truth? The truth is you are, I am that which is. That's the truth. Always will be. And there's nothing else. That's
Excellent.
This is what Yes was saying. He's saying, Jeff, I find your crazy dream. This dream of yours, it's going seemingly so complex and so convoluted, and all this stuff's happening, is nothing. It's a giant illusion. You're caught up in a dream world, and it's going absolutely nowhere. You're just spinning around, dreaming a dream.
It's quite
we're not asking you to get this all at once. But this is why we study, we practice every day, because it's like, okay, to absorb this kind of information, internalize it, to make it something that you can actually apply in your life, and you can live from the point of view of this. So now God is living through you. You're no longer an ego, you're God living in the world.
It's thy will be done.
Yes, thy will be done. It's like you do not need an ego to live in this world. Like the Holy Spirit can do everything for you, much better than the ego ever can.
Which do you know?
I just the great travel lesson. This was the most brilliant travel lesson ever possible. This is what I'm able to do that. I've still got to do stuff, but I'm getting the guidance. Do that, go there, Namaste, and works it all out in the seamless way. And you're like, well, I couldn't do that in my ego. My ego would come down. And I probably would have a lot of stress and drama because that's what the ego does. So even with these practical things. So, well, what happens if you got to book a flight? Who's doing that? Well, who is doing it?
It's very interesting.
It's being done through me. That's the question. That's what's happening. It's being done through me, but I am not doing it anymore. There's no sense of a separate self. What? No one can ever tell you what purpose it serves. Oh no, we need the ego to live in this world. And it's really, and you really want to carry on living in this world there. You want to say it.
Well, what else do you want?
But you do ultimately. Yeah, we do. You do. God didn't put you here. You came here. You chose to come. Yes, I'm going to go there. Okay, so if you want to come back, that's the question. Do you want to come back? Do it again.
Maybe.
Maybe. See?
No,
that's why.
You see, that's enjoy that.
Huh?
That's the ego.
Yes, of course it is. Why would you want to come back? You can't even conceive of how blissful that is, and you want this instead, really? Load shedding, whatever, and not just load shedding. I mean, old age, sickness, death.
So of the 81, not everything, nothing permanent.
Well, depending on the state of your mind, you either recycle back into the dream. You go, oh.
But we're still going to be in this life, but we're going to be thinking differently or feeling differently. We're still going to get old age and sickness, maybe, but we're differently.
Once you go into the idea of separation and you believe in an individual self and guilt and sin and fear, and false expectation appearing real, you have a whole thought system, right, that's governing, and it's unspoken. It's just governing our human reality. This is the ego's thought system that's everywhere. And the Morpheus said in the Matrix that it's everywhere.
But you say the ego is our biggest difference
Yeah, it's the only problem you have.
of the universe.
Yeah, you have one single. There's only one problem. What, the creation of the universe? No, it's a disaster. It's a
Well, that's your perception.
no. But look at what happens here. Let's be honest with it. What happens here? Right. So how do you think death is a miracle? Think suffering is a miracle? Look at what happens in this place. Nothing lasts, as you said. Well, nothing kind of miracle. It's how's that a miracle? Yeah. Why's it called that? Yeah. Yeah, but there's always the duality of it. There's a duality of it. You have karmas again, it's a dualistic concept. I could have good karma, but I could have bad karma. Well, good and bad, light and dark, maybe one of them's true, and maybe one of them's not. Maybe we just need to be wise up and say maybe everything that we believe is true. Once you go into the idea of separation, everything that you believe after that point is untrue because the idea itself. You see the point? It's a false concept.
I mean, it's about going into we. What do you mean by we? I'm not aware of having taken any decision.
Yeah, because you've forgotten. See, so this is a ladder. You come down it, and at each level, you forget that you just put down it. You forget that you decided to be a separate self.
Philosophical or religious culture, take the Bible,
There's a truth that underlies it. The scriptures exist. What is the search for what is it? What is it? Well, I just said it.
What is that? One I see.
I am, you are, that is all it is. We are one. That's the truth. There's only one single awareness. One of us really has. That's the story. One, whatever you want to call it, is that which he is, which cannot be named. I am that I am. What I just had a mystical experience. He said, so what do I say to him? So he sent me to go and save my people. And the presence says to him, I am that I am. That's all. I am that I am. What else can you say? I mean, you can't describe it in any other term. So all the spiritual holidays to do yeah. It's all just what's symbolic underneath it. It's religions exist. It's secondary.
Can I ask that when I start, I've been conditioned by society and my parents, I believe they are born. And then Course of Miracles comes along and says, you're not this conditioned person, so you're actually the Holy Spirit. So I hear that. And then something, and this is what I ask, something happens.
All of that, you actually got it.
So when I wake up in the morning, I no longer think I'm a spirit person. I think, what to say about it. Well, different because I'm actually spirit. So I'm going to do God's will. So then I've got to say to myself, can I intuit God's will, or do I just trust that whatever I do is God's will? I'm going to go out into the world. I'm not going to care. I don't have to worry anymore. I can do what I like. Because what I'm doing, I believe, is God's will. I don't have to worry about the consequences. That's also God's will. I'm going to go out. Now I'm asking you, how? I believe it can work. I believe there has to be a transformational process in a human being, and possibly that you do the whole Course in Miracles, word for word, page for page, throughout all the 6 meditations a day, you might get to the change in mind, because I'm no longer an ego, I'm actually God's emissary, or Holy Spirit, whatever you want to exist. Because I'm trying to get my mind around you, who you are, and who you think you are. So that's the only way I can do it. That you change, you still have the name and the body and everything, but you've changed your mindset. That you are now an emissary of God.
Yeah.
And if you have, what you say,
few years ago, I just realized I wasn't.
what have you been doing before that? Did you have that experience? You've been practicing some disciplines.
I've been doing Course in Miracles for a long time, but I actually brought it on to the birth of my son. I'm holding in my arms. It's like, this is shocking. I could drop him on his head right now, and that's the wrong. So, and I realized that I'd done that 2 years before. I put myself into exactly that position, coming into this world as a helpless infant, and like, do that to myself. It's insane. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? You come in, you're completely helpless, completely vulnerable, at the mercy of this world and these two parents who you don't know if they're going to get. They don't ask you how to. They could abandon you the day after you're born. You have no idea what could happen. I mean, who in their right mind would do that? All reality. No, it's not reality. It's a delusion. Or being abandoned. All of it is a delusion. It's a delusion based on an idea of a separate self. Abandonment Abandonment is an idea. That's all it is. The abandonment was our abandonment of our source. That's the problem. We abandoned it. Yeah. Well, it's all part of a construct of separation, which then dictates that abandonment and all these kinds of issues show up in the projection of that. The universe is a great thought, not a great machine. James Jean said that. It's a great thought. Yeah, but it's not a miracle. It's a mess because it's a thought of separation. It's not true. It's been projected out. Really?
I mean,
But you're going to die.
that's wonderful.
It's wonderful that you're going to die. But that's not eternal life.
And say to yourself, well, it's your whole life.
But like, how can, if you're an eternal being, how can you die? How's that possible? Obviously, yes. Yes, sure. He showed us. He said, look, you think death is so important to you, but it's not. And I'm going to resurrect to prove that it's not. But it can be overcome. It's just a belief.
That's 1 out of 7 billion.
So it's possible. It's possible. The rest of us are asleep. That's the problem. We're all fast asleep. You could all be. He said, "Ye shall do these things and even greater things than I have done," because he was trying to wake us up to our true divine potential.
Or, I mean, that's a beautiful.
Well, it wasn't for me. I attended the shock. It was fine.
But I think it's beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. What's your perception of it?
Yeah, but, yeah, it's an illusion. But I mean, you know, I'm really, you know, I'm working on 2 poles here.
That's the problem. But you're not human. That's the point. You're not human.
Yeah, well,
You think you're human.
but the thing is, you do it blind and create, you know, a thing of, you know, it's undoubtedly my opinion. That's beautiful. You wrote it down. Someone mentioned it. But that's beautiful.
What makes it beautiful?
Your child grow.
Okay, but there's a process. You follow it growing, and what happens? It ends up aging and dying.
That's life.
No, it's not life. It's death.
Then why did you have
Well, that's a good question. Good question. I didn't question that a lot. I'm like, why did I even do this?
you just
There was a lesson for me. There was a profound wake-up call. That was part of my appointment process. I mean, hold him in my arms and realize that I'd done that 42 years before. And I realized that actually this is what every human being does.
So the question is, maybe you chose this incarnation to come through and do what you're doing now. And doing what you're doing now is a miracle. So,
Yeah.
so we choose to be born to experience miracles.
And ultimately, the miracles is the way we get out.
Yeah.
So we choose the games to learn my lessons to escape.
But if Jesus Christ about 16 other months. I mean, he came into this world. Was
You know, it's a magical gesture.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The consciousness of Christ entered the planet. And that's all that happened.
It's right here in front of you. That is the soul. Christ is the one soul that awakens us to, and it's right here, and right in front of you. It's not some distant place. Teachings are there. You know what I'm saying? It's quite theology. Yeah. What? Yeah. I don't know him because he's dead. But yeah, I know. I've listened to his stuff. Yeah, but yeah. He was a theology. Because he's talking about truth. All of these pointing you in a single direction is truth. That's why they exist. Human search is to search for truth. Okay. There's something in us that's very principle. But human beings do okay. Truth. We could that's there's a lot of this. We have a certainty. There's a reason why we search for the truth. And it seems like generations and generations don't seem to find it. My grandparents also searched for the truth. They had no idea. Did they find it? I don't know. Self-realization, it's so all right. Anyway, you find the truth, and then what? Come tell us. Come tell us. You come and tell it. You spread the word. It's the truth. You know what the truth is. But the truth is not in the truth. The awareness that I am. Right. You. It's your own true awareness. We have to get clear about our terms, because consciousness, as Yeshua defines it, is the idea that you are separate from something. That's consciousness. So your ego is conscious. So the truth of who you really are, awareness that pre-existed all ideas of separation, that's who you really are. Yeah, but who's got the responsibility? Who's really responsible? Well, are you sure? Well, I don't know. Huh? I'm not. The point is, you're not responsible anymore. That's the point, because there is no you anymore. So I'm not responsible for my life because there is no me. There's no personal self anymore. So how liberating is that? It's quite liberating. Very liberating. So it doesn't mean you don't do anything. Attachments and belonging. Yeah, you just these material things in life. You just listen, and something comes through and says, "Okay, well, do that, go there, speak to that person, and do that," and then you do it. Very simple. Striving has to be dropped. You have to accept that it is. Right here, right now. Yeah. Because if you're still searching for it, what you say, but it's not there. But the point I understood, it desires a source of something. Why? Yes. And so I'm seeking. And if I'm seeking it, I'm saying I don't think. Otherwise, I want you to put me back here because you see people looking at me watching. I want the 10 steps before I leave. So I want to, when I go home, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I can send you a document, so don't worry about that. The false expectation appearing real and the sin and this guilt causes huge explosion called the Big Bang. Cosmologists have identified that this thing apparently happened 15 billion years ago, and the universe has been expanding and cooling ever since, and now we have billions, trillions of different entities, seemingly separate entities, human beings, or dogs, or cats, or flowers, or plants, or insects, or whatever. And we're just a tiny little planet in the midst of billions
Oh, stop.
Stars, and we can't even get our head around how enormous those is. But it all came from one idea. What quantum physics says is that you are connected to every single thing that you can perceive. In fact, it only exists in and by your perception. You get it? Or not? But in and by your perception. So you look at a star, it only exists because you perceive it to exist. Because you are the apparent perceiver of this external reality, which you projected out. This is a massive projection of the mind. That's all that's happened. So we've taken our thought, the idea of separation, and all that goes with it, the individuality, the sin, the guilt, the wrath of God, the fear, and we project that all out in one massive explosion of energy, just projected thought. That's what the Big Bang is. And then we start playing in the dream world. So now we've gone literally out of our minds in the physical world, and we incarnate in bodies. And we now believe that this entire construct that we've invented is true in reality. And then 15 billion years later, you're trying to figure out what the hell happened. Why am I here in a physical body? Why does any of this really exist? And there don't seem to be any answers, and no one seems to know the truth. And then the search starts. That's the spiritual search. Because this, yes, because this God, truth, love, oneness has always been. Always been. It's never not been. It's the fundamental essence of reality, without which none of this could even seem to exist. It's with the underpinning. It's the ground of being philosophy. That which is, what is, fundamental beingness, whatever you want to call it, it cannot be undone. Doesn't matter how much the ego plays its games and spins its dreams. It doesn't matter what it does. It's still that the essence is still the same. Never change. And that is still within you, and it's within you, and it's in everyone. The same essence. That's why we have one self. One self, one essence, that's all, and that's the truth. And every single spiritual master who's ever lived has said the same thing. We are one. There's only one of us. To really understand that, you have to confront and undo this ego. Because that ego will stop you from understanding. And the ego is going to tell you, no, you're a separate self. No, you're a body. No, I'm human. All the kind of things you said. Great, thank you.
Well, no, because I know about the ego.
Yeah, okay. We all know about the ego because that's our default thought system. And the only problem we have is a single all the myriad problems we've invented are all symptom of one problem.
So do you have no ego?
What do you think? What criteria? I know the truth, put it this way. Does the ego never come into temper? Of course it does. The ego comes out and awareness that it's just not true. It's ridiculous.
Calm down.
So I've learned over time to let it go. It's ridiculous and nonsense. And as you do that, it diminishes. It becomes less and less in your awareness. And if it comes in, you just go, that's just very ridiculous. I can't believe it. And that comes from many years of spiritual practice. It's an ongoing practice, it's an ongoing work. So, you know, gives you
between us and the night. And at the end of it all, everybody which would be completely different, but I still be.
That's what it's all about. Discover who you are.
It's unlikely. It's a little bit too late. But thank you very much. I'd like to see you.
I'm going to a friend of mine. Read that they write it commentary. I'll send it to you because it opens up quite a lot. I'm sure you'll enjoy the content.
Where? In Cape Town. Oh, really? Interesting. Yeah, please do.
Thank you
Oh.
for that response. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah.
Bye.
Thank you for coming.
Very well.
God bless you.
The story about your son is.
How did you like that?
Yeah, and I bet you look after him. He's not looking after himself.
Which is why I can be here, but
Goodbye, my nose.
Thank
you very much.
I finally see go well.
Yeah. Bye.
Lots of love.
Nice to see you again.
so let's conclude our story. We now have lots of separate entities going on. Because what can an idea of separation do but separate more? You see, what else can it do? So you have various separate entities going on, and now we identify each of those entities as real. Saying I'm real, you're real. Oh, you've got a body. This illusionist, we now have a body. The quantum mechanics says that's not really there. But I'm touching it. It's an illusion. Yeah, within the dream world, you have these functions that you think you can do, but the entire thing is an illusion. There's nothing really there. Projection. And they've never found any particles. Quantum mechanics is like this weird and mystical because there's nothing really there. It freaks them out because they go, well, surely there's something there. Can we find something that's real? And they can't find anything. All they can say is there is no reality in the absence of observation. So I perceive you to exist and I can feel you and touch you with that, but that's all we can say. Is it really there? How do I know I'm not hallucinating that there's something there? I have no idea. No, I'm not on the music. Okay. No, I haven't actually. I'm sure it is. I'll go without it because you don't need it. That's a hallucination. Not even there. It's another illusion. If all it is pure formless awareness, then that is the only truth. Right? So I had an experience of that just a little under 2 years ago. Went deep into that for, I don't know, a few minutes. Came out and I was like, oh my God, I get it. I absolutely get this whole thing. It was like I've been studying for many years. It was like everything dropped in. Well, that's what I did. It was 10 hours, 12 hours a day of meditation for 9 days straight. That's what I did. Yeah. So, and then this entire thing just dropped in. I was like, oh my God, I did. It's the veil of illusion. I understood what they mean by the veil of illusion. The only reason we invented this world is so that we can justify all the negative thoughts and emotions that seem to happen. That our ego exists. That exists in and by those negative thoughts and emotions. So we create a world that triggers all of those negative thoughts and emotions to arise continuously, so we can have our separate existence. That's the truth of what's going on. But the only reason the world exists is to perpetuate your idea of the separate self.
All on my way. Catch up with all the information on your various.
Yes, I'm streaming this. So
Right.
You're on this group, I think.
Lovely. Yeah.
Yes, I'm totally recorded. Yeah. Everything's recorded. And it's on YouTube as well. So, brilliant. So, it is lovely to see you. Thanks for meeting. Your participation. Yeah.
Don't have to cut the parties over.
Oh, I'm happy to continue. So, if you stick around, I'll show you the other step.
Good.
You have to go.
You have to go.
What time is it though? Is it really?
Thanks, Steve.
The time is 5:05.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, well, let's continue until then, shall we? Okay.
Also, if you'd I'd also like to, just, even if you don't get it, I'd like to just feel with it.
Yeah. Okay. So this is important. I've done this to explain what the illusion is, because otherwise you won't understand. So the illusion is everything that comes from the tiny mad idea of separation. Okay, so it's absolutely everything that exists in form that you think has any kind of separate identity, any kind of separate existence, is a product of the idea of separation. It is. Just an idea. Projected out, seemingly real, but not. Because the idea of separation from your source is not real. How can you really separate from all that is? No, it's an impossible idea. You can't really easily. You think you've pulled it off. You see, this is the illusion of the ego. You think you've actually pulled off the impossible, and you've actually done it, and you actually are a separate self, and therefore all of this is real. You think you've pulled it off, but fortunately, you're mistaken. You're mistaken. You haven't really pulled it off. You can't ever pull it off because you cannot undo. Yeah, well, that's the human condition, isn't it? So now you think you're a victim. All of this creates the idea that you're a victim of this cruel world where all this insane stuff's going on. You see fear and guilt and sin, and everyone's trying to attack you and harm you. And you project that out and you say, oh, you have a whole story and a whole drama around a separate self, which doesn't even exist, right? The victim identity, the sense of being a separate self, is not true. And it takes a lot of learning just to understand that simple truth, because the story of the victim and the ego is a huge one.
But I mean, you've got to, there's a lot of realization.
Yeah, well, that's why we're here. To learn this. To learn that this victim identity is not true. And Yeshua demonstrated that to us in the crucifixion and the resurrection. It was a master teaching to say, look, this is what you do to yourself. We crucify ourselves as human beings because we think we're guilty and sinful and we deserve to suffer and die. And there it is portrayed in graphic detail. Nailed to the cross, blood and war, and he's killed. And then he says, but that's not the end of the story, because none of that is true.
John, one question, please forgive me if it sounds very silly.
Mm-hmm.
Does it really matter?
Doesn't matter.
Yes. Does
Why?
all of this really matter?
Well,
Because we live our lives, we find what we can as individuals, however illusory it is. And we are challenged to try and find, we will never find it, but we try to find some kind of meaning and value.
we'll never find it. How's that work?
I don't expect that we'll ever find it. And but I still find myself looking for it. And it's, to me, it's to be found in, as I mentioned earlier today, in the immediacy of existence.
Yeah.
That's really it. It's really
What you're tapping into there is a deeper awareness. Tapping into that. What's the immediacy of existence? I have an awareness that I am.
yes, and I'm part of the whole world, of everything around me. And that seems to me to be enough.
And so if you truly live that, you get that, then you're enlightened. Nothing else to learn. Because you're not a separate self anymore.
Enlightened.
Like, no, I don't want to be enlightened. I just want to carry on enjoying life, man.
Well, it doesn't matter then. If you truly in this space and you truly get that I am one with everything and there's no negative thoughts and emotions that arise, and there's nothing that torments you and makes you suffer anymore, then you're enlightened.
I think that at the same time, Slip away from everything that we are, the ego.
You can. That's the truth. You can. It's the choice.
The thing I want to ask is that it's a bad thing with ego. You know, because,
Well, have a look at its consequences, right? Guilt and sin, I mean, these feel terrible. That requires that you fear. So you must fear punishment, which is we've all been in fear before. It doesn't feel good at all. Ultimately, the fear is what creates death, because I think I deserve to be punished, so I must kill myself. It all comes from this tiny mad idea of separation, which is the ego. So judge for yourself, but that's not a very happy reality for anyone.
but at the same, forgive me, John, I'm a bit naive, but overcoming all these horrific sides of everything is in itself something to do while you're waiting to die. You find joy, which is also an illusion, I suppose.
No, joy is one of them. Joy comes from truth. Joy comes from this awareness. So anything that is perceived correctly can be a source of joy. So what happens now is this awareness is still there, and this awareness comes through in what we call the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Which is the awareness that there's something else, something other than just this crazy dream of separation.
Absolutely, I'm with you all the way on that.
And that permeates this dream with the fragrance that is beautiful and joyful and happy.
Yes.
And we can go, oh, actually, life's not so bad. It's not reality. Don't mistake this for reality, the form of this world. But I can have a happy dream while I'm here.
Yes.
Right? So my body's not just going to vaporize instantly. That's called ascension. But while I'm here, I can live a happy dream. I can be inspired now by this true self, which is able, by the grace of God, to reinterpret the world. That's the interesting thing.
Yeah.
Although it's pure formless awareness, it can come into this world and it can reinterpret it. Say, okay, so whatever you're perceiving, just change your mind. You can turn it around. You don't have to see it the same way.
Aren't there compensatory elements, for example? You know, that the usual cliches about light and darkness, that in overcoming the darkness in any small way at all, you're bringing more and more light into your world and into the world as a whole.
Yeah.
And for want of a better term, the purpose of life is to overcome life. And that the work on it, however it's conducted, is in itself, I think, as an ego man, a satisfying pursuit. The desire to overcome the ego is one's own image of the ego is. I can't see that.
It gives you a worthy purpose. Your worthy purpose is to overcome that idea that you are a separate self.
Yes, but the
And
process
to come into the
of overcoming it, that has, to me, has value.
Yeah.
So it's the process, though, is part of the illusion.
Yes, but it's leading you in the right direction. See?
Yes.
So you must take the journey. If you're lost in the illusion, you must take a journey.
Yes.
To return.
Yes.
It's not just going to teleport you. You take the journey. Now, the only reason, the only real meaning of the journey is because of you taking the journey to get to the destination. And as you get closer to your destination, the fragrance of that destination starts to permeate the journey. You start going, oh, I'm quite enjoying the journey.
Correct.
It's not the ultimate outcome.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be stuck on the journey forever, but I can enjoy the journey. The journey has meaning and purpose now because of my destination. But if I'm in the ego's world, it has no meaning and purpose because there's no meaning and purpose in separation. So if I want to believe in that, then I have no ultimate meaning and purpose. And I chase illusory meanings I go, well, my meaning lies in whatever. My meaning lies in my family, or my meaning lies in food, or my meaning lies in alcohol, or drugs, or sex, or shopping, or whatever it is. Seek for meaning there, because we all need meaning. But those meanings are not true, so they will ultimately disappoint you, which is why none of those paths work. They all, you're going to find happiness in alcohol. Well, we know that's not the case. You're going to find happiness in any kind of addiction. It's not the case. That's obvious. That's obvious. Yeah. Okay. You're going to find happiness in a special relationship. That's a much common to these people. All the time.
Won't you explain the difference between love, that pure form is always up?
No, it's a very imperfect one. But the only way to perfect it is to come from this awareness. Right? And this awareness perfects it. Imperfection is beauty. Who said that?
Right.
Who said it?
You said it,
I said it.
If I may suggest that, I find the journey that you keep talking about very fulfilling and enriching in every possible way. My whole life has been that journey, and it's still going on. And I'm not prepared to just cancel it off, rub it out on the whiteboard. I want to carry on living this full, rich life. I accept that. That's everybody else's problem, not mine.
Experience it.
I'm hoping I do experience it, John, because people try to say they don't want to experience it. I want to experience it. Aldous Huxley, when he was dying, he scribbled on a piece of paper a little note and he handed it over to his wife. And it just had the 3 letters LSD. Aldous Huxley wanted to experience death in that sort of glorious technicolor approach that he found in life. Right. And he did, for what it's worth. We don't know what it was worth. But he wanted to be there when he died. And I'm quite looking forward to that as well.
But it's not the end. There's some awareness.
Well, this is I struggle a bit with that, John, because I'm finding life enough as it is. So to actually start looking beyond it for something else strikes me as a hell of an extra effort to make.
But it's an inevitability.
Yes, mate.
What happens then?
Well, I'm actually quite looking forward to it. So I don't know, but if I get a chance, I'll let you know.
Maybe you just go back to your source. If you're in the right mind.
Yeah.
That is, if you're in the right mind, you go back to the truth. You just go back into your true awareness.
It's the end of the arrogant leader. In many respects, I think I'm already at the truth.
I think you're right, actually. I think you kind of get it. You just don't acknowledge that you get it, which is that's it.
Yeah, well,
You get it, but you don't get it.
Yeah, that I'll have to do for now.
If you're living in, you said at oneness, if
Yes.
you're living in a state of at oneness with people and with life,
Yes.
you really feel that in essence. And
Yes.
that's the essence of living in a happy dream and
Yes.
in life's work.
Yes.
It's nothing mystical, that's special.
Yes.
It's just it should be our natural state of being.
It should be but should not be our goal then if we're not in that.
Yeah, so if you're not in that, then it's taken to that. But remember, that's all part of the journey. And then oneness
Yes.
with life ultimately is going to lead you out of this world. You don't stay here forever. You're just on a journey.
Yeah.
And it's quite evident you don't stay here because we die. All of us.
Yeah, no, I've
So what
accepted
happens
that.
then? What's that all about? Why do we die? And if you believe in the universe, why do we get? Why is all that happen? Explain. This is a complete theory. Saying, well, the only reason you do that is because you think you want to do it. No one put you here. It's because you think you're still a separate self, and you still have guilt and sin and fear going on. And then, if you believe that story, guess what? You come back here and you play out that story in another human life, and you have some more dramas and more issues to deal with, which are all a symptom of your belief in separation. You go nodding your head, and that's what we do. Yeah. And yes, we're saying that's no. You don't have to do that. You don't have to crucify yourself over and over again. You can just wake up and realize who you are and be done with the whole dream. That's possible. In fact, it's inevitable. because inevitably, at some point, the mind that's gone to sleep and is sleeping and dreaming in the illusion must awaken to the truth, because the truth is still there. And that is the fundamental purpose of the universe. Right? The only real purpose is that awakening. That's fundamental truth. That's why it's inevitable. So at some point, everyone will. However, in this dream, as a seeming separate self, you have what's called free will. So you can go, no, I don't want to wake up yet. I'd like to come back. Okay, if you want to come back, you come back, and you do it all over again. If that's your choice, it is a choice.
Sure.
You haven't been here once, you've been here many times. It may be the last. If you choose for it to be consciously,
Yeah.
and you know that you really don't want to come back and experience the drama of the yeah, I mean, he teaches us in the Course of Miracles that reincarnation is an illusion, like every other illusion. Right? You think you come back into a dream world, and you think that that's real, but it's not. It's just another dream. Because he was speaking about something transcendent. He spoke about the kingdom of heaven, and he said, "Just go for that." Reincarnation. Because actually, all he's trying to do is awaken us to this and say, "This was the kingdom of heaven." Well, he didn't write it down himself, but we have testaments recorded what he said. The kingdom of heaven shall come. So he was referring when he talked about the kingdom of heaven or the kingdom of God. He was talking about this state.
Somebody
Yeah. He was just a man. So he had a human form, and
he was a man.
well, he seemed to be a man. He had an ego to start with, and he undid it. And then what came through him was Christ.
Because
Well, he would have had to have an ego to come. Don't come here. Where they were coming. And you said they had no ego.
Well, you see, this is beyond the
You can't incarnate unless you have an ego. Because the ego is a belief in separation.
He came here for a reason.
No, he came here to undo his ego and to show us all how we could undo it. Yeah, is he? Right here in front of you. Right now.
Yeah, look, no.
Because he's not a person. He's a present.
Everything you're saying.
Yeah. Because in miracles, he is the second coming. See? He said, I promise I will come back. He is the disciple. But he's not going to come back and do this. He was just someone who wanted to do the truth. No, he's come back. Well, Yeshua. Because he's a teacher, he's someone who's a way show. And he showed us the way, and he was cross. It was the same. So Yeshua the cross. Christ is the resurrection. Ever that was God. But he was also, these are all symbols of the divine coming through. The higher awareness is coming through in that human being. Yes, the one. And you said that person. Well, it's not a person. It's a person. And you say
That was temporal. It's the temporal part of it.
right? He wasn't mad. He had a form, right? So I have a form. You said, but the form, no. Well, he seems to. I think understood. He understood he wasn't really a man. He understood that he was the presence.
Oh, I'm 17.
It's true. It's fascinating. I mean, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. Well, exactly. That's how deep you want to go down this road. But I mean,
Yes, absolutely.
We need to another quarter parliament. You know. And I'll have to do it, and I'll have to do this.
Cool. Take it further. Join us for the next 3 weeks. See what happens. Yeah. You get interesting insights.
Amen.
Sadly, needing to go. Thank you very much for this, because I've come across all these ideas, and I've never really grasped this illusion. A step ahead. Yeah, but I mean, it's used in it's all an illusion. It's all an illusion.
Yeah.
I've never really found a way to start coming to grips with that. All of that stuff is
It's not common. I mean, I haven't seen this in any other teaching. It's not in Buddhism. It's not. It's quite unique to the course. This understanding of how this all fits together, and it links in with insights that come from other paths, like ultimately become spiritual paths. It all kind of dovetails together. And you go, okay, well that kind of makes sense. So there's a Big Bang projection. Now the quantum physicists can't tell you how that happened.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. So what happened? The tiny mad idea of separation, and you believed in it, and then you had guilt and sin, and that terrible guilt and sin and the fear and the rage and anger. That's what projected out. That intensity of all that emotion is what created the Big Bang, which is then literally out of our minds. Well, how else would it have happened? Think about it. Where did energy come from? What is energy? Energy is projected thought. That makes complete sense, doesn't it? Projected thought from our mind, now projected out into the physical.
another piece of
And the quantum mechanics, quantum physicists, and this is a direct quote, the universe begins to look more like a great thought than a great machine. Like said in the 1930s. So they're tapping into them. Okay, it's all just thought. So my limits really, they can't go, there's a particle. Because it's just thought. It's intangible. It just seems to be tangible. It's a grand illusion. Spun by an idea of separation. And the only point of it is to get you to believe that you are a separate.
Everything, thinking makes it so. Thinking makes it so. And there was a rock and roll.
Nothing is good or bad, but
Yes,
thinking makes it so.
It's all a dream. Life is a dream that we're living, drifting through the universe. And then the guy says in the song, he says, thinking is the best way to travel. And that's what where we are. We live in thought. And
Except that maybe there's something beyond.
yes, maybe there is.
So
Maybe there is.
this is the capital thought. It's an awareness that is beyond dualistic thought. Beyond subject, I think about you, Steve, think about you, think about all the stuff that seems to be around me. Beyond separation, it's just an awareness of what is. Before all of it.
There's got to be something more to it than this.
What? And that's all it is. It's so simple. It's a base state. It's the inner formless awareness.
Yeah.
It existed. all separation. And it's still pre-exists all
Yes,
separation.
yes.
It's still there. We've just forgotten that it's there.
Well, those, the 4 items on that thing that I can hardly read now. The blue circle.
Yeah, God, truth, love, oneness. Yeah.
It's,
Well, that's the only truth.
yeah.
You know, that will keep you going not for a while. It will keep you going for eternity.
Yes.
Because that's life. That's eternal life.
Yes,
When you're in that awareness, there's no other awareness.
Johnny, I thank you very much. I accept that completely. Thank you very much for sharing it. But I didn't realize that it was so profound until now. It's lovely, John. It's because of my own mysterious existence of a separate ego. I have to say it's something that keeps my separate ego going.
Yeah.
Is the thought that it's not all that, you know.
Yeah.
And only for the most part.
Hmm.
I think I'm on the cusp of happiness all the time.
Yeah, you look at it. And that's in the end. And then why do we do this? We do this because we want to be happy.
Yes, yes.
And you know, when we die, it'll look after it. If you die in a happy state, reality will look after itself.
That's a useful goal, I think.
Yeah. Yes. So what yes, if you would like to get this 10-step process and meditation on it, just give me your email address and your mobile number. I also send out like a daily quote and stuff on Telegram. So if are you on Telegram by any chance? You're on WhatsApp? Are you on WhatsApp? Okay. Have you got a card? Or okay. So let me just put your details in my.
Pammy, forgive me for not linking to my feet. But, I'm happy, but I'm not strong.
Okay. Shall I end this then?
Or do you want to continue, Paul?
Okay, let's just